Hey everybody, this is Edward Jones, aka Mossy 500A, with Bravo Tactical, and Lucas, aka the best Call of Duty player ever. And
M3.
this is the podcast Ought to Be Armed, and we just talk about general discussions on firearms, politics, survival, prepping, and what have you.
How about we have Billy Sack introduce us with the first topic?
Who? I don't know. Who?
I'm sorry, Billis. Edward, help me out here.
Ballistic.
I don't know. Oh, Hex. Oh, he's not here. He wasn't able to. Make it to the podcast. Sorry, guys. I know.
Anyway, the first,
All right.
topic. You can go on.
All right. If you haven't seen the first podcast, go ahead and check it out. It'll be link will be in the description. And so you want to start? Who wants to start off with the topic?
I'll start off with a topic.
All right.
For those of you who are new, I guess for those people who are new to prepping, what would be the basic essentials you think a person should have, or the basics they should have covered?
You're asking us?
So, are we talking about weather, or maybe some kind of? Oh, yeah. Are we talking about like weather events or like other kind of events?
Well, I'd say just, and I guess despite whether it be weather, man-made, economic, what are some like basic essentials that a person should they should have prepared for themselves, if they're just getting into prepping.
All right. So you guys want to put together a group list that we could have?
Yeah, Lucas, you can give your ideas. I'll give mine. Edward, you can go ahead and give yours. So Lucas, start off.
All right, all right. So, as with any kind of emergency situation, you want to have your food, right? You want to have water, always good to have. Any kind of like emergency aid type of kits, I would say probably for the, lower level, maybe some mid-tier stuff. Obviously you don't want to be too excessive because this stuff would probably rack you up a lot. What about being able to defend yourself? What do you guys think? Having some kind of arms.
I think you should be able to offense and defense. Defensive would be your first priority, but if you have to go in the offense, be prepared.
Are we saying it's taking place at your home, or are you like out in the middle of the woods and a pack of like wolves attack
It
you?
depends on the scenario. I mean, if you
All right, so we're out in the middle of the wolves and a pack of wolves attacks us. Okay, so I mean, I'd probably have my beef jerky on hand. The wolves might kind of smell that. So I'd probably have some kind of like some kind of pistol or something because you don't want to be bogged down with too much gear and everything like that. Am I going hiking here in these woods or camping?
you,
Say you're a fugitive.
I'm a fugitive, so I'm escaping from the cops here.
so you're gonna have a
Escaping from
silencer. You're probably gonna want to have a silencer on your pistol.
Maybe you're escaping from sadists.
Oh wow! All right, so I'm probably in a hurry here. So obviously I want to pack light. Maybe have like a tent, sleeping bag. Well, no, I want to camp under the tree. So I only have like a sleeping bag, some food, a gun and ammunition, water. Oh shit! What else would you need? Maybe some spare clothes. If you're just going in one direction. Oh yeah, obviously fire starting equipment. Maybe like a fire starter, some kindling, an axe. An axe. There you go. I'm gonna have an axe on me. You can't beat that.
Yeah. All right. Well, I would agree with some of those.
Which ones would you not agree with?
No, it's not. I not agree with this. It's all it's all personal what you need. But yeah, if you're honestly starting prepping out,
If you're running away and you gotta pack light, you don't want to overdo it.
no, and I agree with that. I'm not saying I said I don't agree because personally that's not what I would carry. But that's for you. You're prepping.
All right,
Prepping goes
your
according
turn.
to
Yeah.
your what you need. It depends on what you're prepping. If the main things, whether you're prepping for an economic collapse, all the way EMP, flood, whatever.
No. We give a specific
No,
scenario here.
I'll give myself. All right.
Well, I would say more just for. I was asking in a sense, like just in the general
Yeah,
sense.
in general
what-
sense,
what-
I
I
think
kind of changed it.
I think you should have money with you. You know, you can always buy yourself stuff at the last minute if you need to. Always, you know, maybe someone that's unprepared and they have no clue what they're doing. You know, you could give them the money and they think it's worth something. Um, you know, always have. I would say, you know, food, water. You know, you should always have a resupply plan. You know, you shouldn't, pack, ramen noodles and then when it's out, you know, you can't. You know, you're done for. You know, you got to have a resupply plan for water. You know, keep yourself some, filtering equipment to filter you some water. You know, things to start fire with. I would agree with an extra pair of clothing, but it depends. I mean, if you're staying at home, you have a little more luxuries of keeping, having more stuff.
Of course.
And but if you're bugging out, or let's say you're just you're planning on, something's happening in your area, you're planning on going for a couple of days and then coming back, then of course you'd want to pack light, but you'd also want to keep a lot of things that you need. And I think food, resupply plan, water, a way to defend yourself, whether it's a knife or a gun. I would personally go with
An axe.
firearms,
An axe is
a
multi-purpose.
hatchet, an axe to cut down some wood or something. A tent. You don't have to pack, like the full-size tent. You can have like one, you could have a sheet where you just, hanging on a string.
A tarp.
Yeah,
a tarp. Really.
I would agree. I mean, it goes according to what you need, what your needs are. Look at what you have every day and narrow it down to the necessities and the luxuries. The luxuries you don't really need, the necessities you do. So there you go.
All right. So I'm going to ask for a poll here. Would a phone with a Jimmy John's number be considered a necessity?
I would say a phone would
not?
be because it can provide you light. If you need to call for an
Maybe if
emergency.
you're at work. Maybe if you're at work and you're hungry.
No, this is like in the middle of the woods, and you're hungry, and you got to call up Jimmy John's.
If it's
like, would you guys consider this a
if shit
necessity?
hit the fan,
They probably get there faster than 911 would.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, we didn't mention medical. So I didn't mention medical supplies. Yes, medical supplies. Are
I
very,
did,
Very
so,
important. And I wouldn't go for modern medicine. I would go with like homeopathic or oils, natural.
I'd go with like
natural oils.
Oh, so it is. Yep.
What?
I mean, wouldn't you also include like the standard, band-aids
Yeah,
and bandages?
but like for medicine goes, if you have a sore throat, runny nose, headache, all that good stuff.
Oh, man, if you got a sore throat and you're out in the middle of the woods, that'll kill you.
No, but it's an irritation. I mean, and also some people, do get sick a lot because they're not exposed, to the outside world much. So, always keep, oils, such as like fish oils and stuff, they never expire. Homeopathic medicine never expires. And they're proven to work. They've been used for thousands of years. And
It would take a lot of direct knowledge of the skill in order to make in order to actually make
no,
medicine.
you don't have to make it. You could keep it. You could just buy it off now, and they last forever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they really do.
Oh, I thought it was something you actually make.
Nope, preparation.
That's what I think of when I hear homeopathic.
No, we have homeopathic
Something
medicine.
I have
It
to
comes in
make.
bottles. You just go to a medicine shop. It just comes in these little bottles, and they last. They have an expiry date for a couple of 5-6 years, but and that's because the government requires a expiry date. But they do honestly last almost forever.
Yeah, you can just pick them up at your local, vending machine, and just dial in the codes.
And does Smirnoff count as homeopathic medicine?
No, Smirnoff doesn't count. It has to be Belvedere. Smirnoff does not count.
Wouldn't I be wasting Belvedere?
If you have to pack light and you have to take something that is going to get the job done,
Yeah.
that's what you got to take.
I think I'll use Belvedere for like a fire starter. A Molotov cocktail.
Or if you're really cold, you just take one of those and you'll be fine. It'll warm you up, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
flashlights. I didn't say flashlights either.
Yeah, I don't think you could use a Belvedere as a flashlight. Please.
No, I'm talking
unless you have like a lighter.
Actually, you could if you put a wick in the bottle and let the wick soak. I mean, it's like making you can make a Molotov cocktail, you just don't break it. The wick will actually stay lit.
Mm-hmm.
So you could actually use it as a torch, as a handheld torch to light so you can see what's in front of you.
Or maybe as like a flare, you could throw it down and then boom,
Yeah.
chopper's flying up.
Burn
I'm
the
pretty
whole
sure I'll see
forest
it.
down.
That's why you walk away after.
Don't look back.
Right, like a little sign that says, it wasn't
I
me or
mean, it'll
something.
scare off the
Make
wolves.
sure it doesn't get.
It cook the wolves.
Free food.
Well, there you got your food source
Yeah,
right there.
You get your food
It's
source.
two birds, one
You know,
stone.
you defended yourself as well as you got free light and heat. So,
So now the people that are flying in helicopters that are looking for you, how are you gonna stay away from them with that giant fire?
now without the giant fire, if you're in some situations, if you're bugging out or you're hunkering down, when in a shit hits the fan situation, would you want to get help, or would you want to be self-sufficient? Would you want the police, your medical supplies, not medical supplies, but the police to come, take you and put you in a shelter, or would you want to stay on your own? I mean, if you're prepared, you probably wouldn't want you would want to stay on your own, but
I'd stay in place if I could. If I didn't have to leave home base unless it was absolutely necessary, I'd stay home.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least stay in my general neighborhood.
Do you think your neighborhood would have all the supplies you need? Like, what happens when you start running low? What's your next course of action?
Well, I'll look at where there actually are some naturally occurring like the things I would say that a person if they're just getting into the basics, just want to have the basics covered. I would say you need water, you need food, you need fire, you need some form of shelter. Clothing does count as shelter because you don't want to spend
that
3
is
hours
very
naked
true.
in the
When,
elements.
A
Yeah.
lot of people don't understand
you wanna
that.
have a means of defense and have a way of communicating with other people. That's the best way. That's a good way of getting information as well as, you're not isolated.
And you don't have to buy all these things at once. You can gradually, accumulate them. It's like if you're buying ammunition, you're not going to buy, 20,000 rounds at once, but you're going to, buy a box, every now and then and accumulate it.
I would say buy according to your budget.
That is true. Yeah.
Right, and let's say you can't afford like a radio or something, or some good form of communication. You can always take a lesson in Native American smoke communication, where they would have the fire
But you
go a
would need
certain
more
way,
than
and
one
you'd have like these smoke clouds that would
If you have,
communicate. Yeah, so let's
If you
say
have a bug-out
if
group.
ballistic was like on the other side, and you wanted to tell them that hi or something like that,
Yeah,
you
if
could
you have
probably
a
set
bug
up
out, or if you have
fire
a set
and get
group, that you're gonna, survive with, then yeah, it would be definitely a good skill to learn. How about as far as hunting goes? If you had a firearm, like I know in a survival situation you probably would hunt, but personally, right now I would not hunt. I mean, I'd get my skill up, here and there, but personally, I don't like to hunt. I don't like to take animals' lives, but if I had to, I definitely would. I know how to hunt. It's not like I'm going into it blind.
What about mushroom picking? Have you ever thought about that as a reliable option? If the mushrooms grow
that's actually because
in
that's
your
what
area.
I was trying to get. Like, would you go hunting, or would you start a garden first, or what would you do? I mean, because
Basically, I would say that you want to supply yourself early on before anything happens. Even if you had a small garden, I say if shit went south, anything you had that could be taken indoors, I'd take it indoors. Simply put, not necessarily to not advertise the fact that you have stuff, but because you don't want anybody just taking, if some people get desperate, you don't want them taking the stuff that you have that's left outside. So if it can't be brought indoors, I would suggest bringing it indoors. Or if you don't have a fence, if you have a fence, then have some way of protecting what you have. Also be on guard. So I guess security. I mean, if you're gonna stay in place, security will be very important because you want to make sure that nothing can overrun you. Nothing could try to. No, at least nothing could do it very easily. Nothing could break in. and mess with you or your supplies or your family without without any extreme difficulty
Hmm.
on your part.
Yeah, because personally,
Uh,
if I was running out of food, I would probably, like Lucas said, mushroom picking. Uh, then maybe my last resource would be hunting.
Yeah, you would. I mean, I'm just giving up all these like random ideas, but you're gonna want to stick with the low risk. As Edward's been saying, close to your headquarters, your base, whatever you want to call it. That you could actually like sustain yourself on or benefit you. You want the benefit to
Hmm.
outweigh the risk. Because every time you go out
yeah.
there, you never know. If in this survival situation, there's other people out there that you got to compete with, or you might want to avoid.
But
So you
mushroom
always want to
picking.
watch
Let's
out for
say
that.
you're
Yeah.
you're you're bugging out and you're going. Lucas, I know you do mushroom picking. So like, explain.
Yes, sir.
What are the good mushrooms to pick and what aren't.
Um, so I would say a general rule of thumb is when you have mushrooms and once you pick them, you flip them over and you look at under the hat, what's directly under that. If you have more of like a venti type of pattern under it compared to a spongy one, the venti one is generally bad and the spongy one is generally good. That is one of the ways to tell if it's a good mushroom or a bad mushroom. But obviously, there's exceptions to the rules. But that is the
I'm
general
not a
idea.
mushroom expert. Can you eat them raw? Can you have to cook them?
I think I know what he's talking about with
Yeah,
the
I'll
vents and the
probably
sponge. The vents are like
yeah,
actually like
I'll try and put
lungs.
a picture up if I can.
What's that?
They're vents remind me of lungs because I worked in a restaurant and I had to cut cross sections of mushrooms and I can tell
Yeah.
what you're talking. I know what you're talking about.
I mean,
They look
obviously, that's not all the case every single time,
yeah.
but
But when you
the
when you
general
when you
idea.
pick mushrooms,
Um,
can you eat them raw or do you have to cook them or what?
I'm pretty sure you could eat them raw. Though a lot of times you go mushroom picking, um, the mushrooms could be, let's say, like infested with ants or whatever kind of bugs there are. So when you usually pick them up, you cut them from the bottom. You see if any kind of insect or whatever has made its home in the mushroom, if it's like burrowed through the leg, and then you want to slowly start chopping away at the leg, seeing how far the insect has gotten. And then if it looks like it got into the head, you might be able to salvage a piece of that if the insect hasn't gotten all the way in. Otherwise, it's probably best to
Mm-hmm.
just leave it alone.
I'll also say if you're gonna go if you started to run low on supplies and you had to go out and um get resupply have a if you had to go out in the wild like if you had to go out and get things that are native to your area at least have a book of reference so that way you know that you're
Yes.
not picking up something poisonous like when I was growing my garden last year there was a plant that grew and I had like these little red cherries on them and these big green leaves and I didn't know what they were so I did a video about it and asked someone to can they tell me what this plant was? And they said they gave me the name for it. They said you can eat the leaves, but don't eat the berries because the berries are poisonous.
Yeah.
And so I basically what I did was I just let the thing grow and just die. Then and then I think yeah this month I pulled it up by its roots when it was all dried up and
Yeah.
chucked it.
I mean, wouldn't you say that if you're in like a dire situation where you see, let's say, those kind of like berries or something out there,
Yeah,
and you don't know if it's good or not, you never want to just like completely start
Oh
gorging
yeah.
yourself on something like that. You could
yeah,
try to like try a little bit and see if anything happens to you,
yeah,
because it's definitely going to be much better than
I would
eating the
agree.
entire thing. And like, because I mean, because usually what you start throwing up if your body starts reacting to it, and maybe try to get it out. And obviously, I don't know my poison
No, I would
objects that
agree. I
much,
think your
but
body would try immediately to remove it, out of your system.
and with mushrooms, the big, maybe not necessarily big, but the bright red ones are like that have bright colors and this looks bad. It's probably bad.
Yeah, I think Edward gave a really good point. Keep guides, keep survival guides. Ways. Yeah,
It's a
and
shortcut.
not only
It's
that.
a
I mean,
shortcut.
even if you do, you take classes, you know it. In a stressful situation, you might not know it. As well as you don't want your family or friends to rely on you. If you're out of the picture, or you're gone somewhere and you can't help them at the moment, they can always reference to it.
You know what my backup
Let's
survival
hear it.
technique is?
Jimmy
Um,
John's.
no. So I have my phone, right? And instead of having the Jimmy John's number,
Yeah.
you have the number for Les Stroud, and he'll help you survive. He'll tell you everything you need to do. And he's not the made up one. The Bear Grylls is just doing some random situation that is extremely dangerous, and
I mean,
he just fakes everything.
Why not Cody Lundin?
I mean, I'm just naming one. I'm just naming one.
No, I mean, I'm not saying that's a bad idea. I mean, it's actually, I think it's good that you actually have, when you seek it. I would say
have
it's good to
people
seek advice
that know
from,
this stuff.
yeah, people who have experience.
Plus, if he's helping me, then obviously he can't help you guys because he'll be,
But
teaching me.
then that's the thing.
So you guys are.
You need teaching. We don't.
Oh, okay. I see how it is. I see how it is, bully
Hex
sack.
is still not you.
So you guys want to continue on this topic? Come up with a new
I
scenario,
think,
or
we
do you guys
should,
something else planned?
Move on. Oh,
How about clothing? What about? I was gonna say, what about clothing? Okay, I pointed that out as being a form of
Actually-
a form of shelter. Like, what kind of clothing would you guys
the
suggest to
thing
people
is that,
who are new?
Go ahead, Lucas.
A tarp jacket is really nice because it makes a good jacket, and then you can use it as a tarp.
If you're trying to blend
Good
in
to know.
and camouflage, then of course you got to make your own ghillie suit or whatever to according to what. But if you're trying to keep yourself warm or trying to keep yourself cool, let's say it's winter. A lot of people would think they don't really think dark colors. Always trying to wear dark colors. Keep dark colors. Obviously to retain the heat. It absorbs heat, unlike lighter colors. Yeah.
One of the more important things, like in all seriousness, opposed to making something up, is layers.
Yeah.
Layers are going to be key. I mean, temperatures change. You want to be able to take off a layer, put on a layer, depending
You
on
always
what the
wanna have
situation
multiple,
calls
You
for.
never know what happens. It starts raining and then it becomes really cold. You get hypothermia, or you fall in water or something, or something happens, something gets dirty, something gets ripped.
I'd say it's important to dress according to your environment. I mean, before you get into the get into camouflage, I think camouflage can be it's pretty vague because what I'm wearing right now could be considered camouflage to anyone else. I mean, right now I'm just wearing some khaki pants and a flannel shirt, a black T-shirt underneath it. But I think it's important to dress according to your environment. I mean, if it's normally colder where you are, then it makes no sense to have a whole bunch of shorts.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
of
here
course.
here in Texas, where I am right now, I have to actually have both because literally one day it'll be 80 degrees and then the next day it'll be snowing. It changes really fast, and so you never know.
All right, you would have some kind of specific scenario, specific place. I mean, we're just being general here, and then kind of like bouncing around, but I think everyone gets the general idea.
Yeah.
All right, well, it's all the time we have. So thank you everybody for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. If you haven't checked out the first podcast, the link will be in the description, as well as Edward and Lucas's channel will be in the description. Thanks for watching. Ought to be armed, and
You call that an outro?
yeah.
Please visit Mr. Goldenbaum's channel. See you guys later. Bye.
Peace.